Hello, everybody. I am so excited. I'm really coming out of my body to be with Tirzah Firestone, who I have heard about. And then I was introduced to her through a beloved friend, a mutual friend, Mirabai Star. And then I fell into her work. And then I got to know her through organizing this wonderful class we're about to talk about. But this is my first time actually meeting her. And hello, you. I am so excited to have you.
I'm so excited to be here, Carolyn. And the environment as it is changing under our feet. Wind is blowing. I hope our connection is strong and will stay strong today.
Well, our connection is strong, but I can tell you that it's a little wobbly on the internet, but we're going to make do with that.
Great.
And I want to introduce everybody to the wonderful class that Tirzah is going to be giving to all of you. It's called Wounds into Wisdom, and she produced a book on that, which was an incredible bestseller. And I am so excited about your field of ancestry work and how essential it is. And I don't know anyone else who has done it as beautifully as you. And before I turn this over to her for a second, I want to emphasize that Tirzah is a PhD in psychology. She's a Jungian analyst. She's a rabbi. She's an author. She's a teacher. I don't know where to stop, except maybe I should stop here. And I want to say, I'd like you to just comment on the need for ancestral healing and what makes this course so incredible.
It does feel like there's so much landing in us, in our generation, in this day and age, that is ours and so much more than ours. It is so much bigger than us. There are ancestral and intergenerational residues from all kinds of displacements and wars, poverty that our ancestors lived through, that are landing in us. They are in us. Their trauma residues are in us. So the things that we feel, the things that we are experiencing today are today's. They are here and now, but there are also resonances from the field of these of our ancestors, of the intergenerational trauma that they suffered, that they did not have the wherewithal to metabolize. So those residues literally land in our nervous system. So people come to me all the time with anxieties, fear, inordinate shame, issues that they're fielding. And when we scratch the surface and open the lens to the aperture to what came down to them, what came down to each one of us, we realize that our ancestors are still living through us and in us. And residues are calling to us to complete and to heal.
You know, there's so much. I mean, just think of the legacy of the wound legacy of slavery. Think of the wound legacy of mass genocides, of the Holocaust, of all of these, and how many people I know from my parents' generation, who simply thought that the way to make a wound go away was to not speak about it.
Exactly.
But they psychically spoke about it all the time.
That's right. It comes out
passed down into habits.
It comes down in every way, through the mother's milk, through the father's, through the moods in the household. And
that's right.
It gets transmitted even if they are even more if they are secret.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it's like the kind of the psychic, the atmosphere is pregnant with something, but you can't put your finger on it because the invisible world is not accepted as a player in the physical world.
That's right.
And yet it's the strongest hand at the poker table.
That's exactly right. And in this work, we will literally open the doors to that invisible world, to the ancestral dimension. And let me give you a quick story that I think at home. A family that I worked with, she was a beautiful millennial. Her parents were Iranian. She was born, her mother was pregnant with her when they were escaping in the early 80s. escaping Tehran. They were very wealthy. They had to leave everything
Yeah.
behind. Literally passed out of in the middle of the night out of Tehran on a donkey cart, sitting on opium bundles, literally,
Right.
and went to Pakistan, and then flew out got to Miami. Um, this young woman, this young mother came to me not because she was distressed, but her daughter, her 7-year-old daughter, had severe separation anxiety, and they had been to every school counselor, to every family therapist. They couldn't break it. And finally, she came to me just because of the stress. And
Mhm.
as we looked at her genogram, her multi generational family map, I noticed, well, you have this amazing legend, this family legend about how you escaped, your family escaped. But what about the other side? It's all question marks here. She went home and started to dig and asking her parents and digging and insisting. And she uncovered a terrible family secret that had been pushed under, it had been buried. And that was because of the terrible shame. Her parents had left Tehran, leaving a 94-year-old blind grandmother without telling her goodbye.
Right.
Her died of a broken heart. Well, my client proceeded to rail and rant, and pull out all the pictures and made a memorial, and everybody cried and everyone felt the shame and unearthed this terrible secret.
Mhm.
Well, in doing that, in this part of the house,
Mhm.
finally, within 3 weeks, this little girl who was suffering such severe separation anxiety demanded to go back to school, demanded to see her friends. She was like this almost an instantaneous
Right.
healing, that
Right.
carrying the heartbreak and the separation anxiety of a grandmother from thousands of miles away that she had never met.
Right.
So things do get carried. They are in our health, they're in
Yes.
our bodies and our nervous systems. And I think the reason that this field is so pressing on us now is that we now have the research to match what our intuitions have been telling us all along. The research that says actually there is an epigenetic mechanism that we can see in the labs that carries the stress, that
Yes.
influences the gene expression, that stops our resilience, that stops our brains from thinking well, because this is unmetabolized trauma that has been carried down to the next generation. It's no fault of our.
Absolutely. You know, the image that comes to me is, or the metaphor is that apples don't fall far from trees, but that could be said of wounds. I mean, if you think of the apples as the wounds of the family tree, they just don't fall far from the tree. And you don't know what seeds of the tree will be in you as the apple. But they're
Very, that's right.
but they're going to be in there because you're part of that tree system.
That's right. That's right. And it will keep recycling through us
Precisely.
until
Precisely.
we turn to face it and open up our awareness. It's about getting conscious. That's all it takes.
Right. Well, I'm going to dive into, although I could talk to you for hours and hours, and I intend to,
Mhm.
I want to dive into the classes that you have listed as what that will be part of the seminar. The first one is Trauma and the Journey of the Soul. Even that, I mean, you could spend a year on.
Yes. And that is well, there are many voices in this course. And that one is really about the archetypal psychology that I love so deeply, that came from Carl Jung, that teaches us that we have a trajectory, that there is such a thing as entelechy, that we are unfolding a soul code that that we're born with. We're here for a purpose. Nobody is here randomly on this earth.
Right, right. Even that's just delicious. The second, mapping our family legacies. How yummy is that?
It is, and I will teach techniques to actually do that. You don't have to come with a lot of ancestral information. You don't have to know much at all, but you are going to uncover things that are astounding.
Yes, and I don't know anyone who's not interested in that. Everybody can feel their family somewhere in their energy field. They can. Everybody can. And I think that's why kids who don't know where their family is make it up. They make up, their father would have been, their mother could have been. They make up stories because you have to fill in those blanks. You have to. Because we know we come from somewhere and we're going somewhere. We just don't want to make that journey alone. We
That's right.
don't and we don't realize how many of our elders and ancestors are on this journey along with us. It's an
That's right.
extraordinary thought, and it's
That's
an
right.
extraordinary image, and that there are descendants that are already lining up to join the journey.
Very powerful. And they need us and we need them.
Precisely. I mean, it's quite extraordinary. The third class is intergenerational trauma and patriarchal abuses. Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure if we need to say anything else about that.
I don't think so, my dear. I think that says it all. The fourth, which I think is very important, is ritual practicum.
Yes. So in this course, there will be direct spiritual experience. Let me just say that it is not only that we're talking about it. Everyone will experience it themselves in their own nervous system, in their own deep heart, and I and everyone's experience will be completely different.
Part of one of the reasons I love the way you organize this class is because I know from my own experience as a teacher that we stir the pot in people. And it's not okay to just leave them stirred up. There's got to be a way to bring the ship down, or to say, now that I've activated all that you realize needs to be healed, what are you going to do about it? And that's where ritual comes in. That's
Exactly.
where some kind of practice comes in, because no one wants to leave with a head full of feathers. I mean, you
Exactly. That's
you have
really
to be able
true.
to do something. And so that is marvelous. And that's followed by session 5, which is the alchemy of healing. How yummy is that?
And for those who don't know, alchemy is both a metaphor, but it's also really what we are doing in this work. We are literally taking the dross, the heavy metals, you could say, the toxins of past generations, and doing this profound work of transforming and transmuting it into usable wisdom, into compassion, into compassion for the world. It's not only ourselves that we heal, it is also taking our insights, taking our experiences, our direct experiences, and turning it, making it into a lens for, we don't have to make it. We actually just feel all of a sudden that we have this newfound empathy for what's going on in the world. And we're able to facilitate healing just by virtue of who we are.
And keeping with that, we close with becoming an agent of blessing. How beautiful is that?
Mm-hmm. And that actually
Beautiful is that?
a term that comes from the Kabbalistic tradition, which I also hold very deeply and preciously and within me, that has to do with what we're here for. What we're all here for is becoming channels for blessing and for healing.
And that to me is just another way of, I cannot tell you how beautiful I find that phrase. Because for me, I think the whole journey of life could be summarized between the difference of one struggle with the love of power to converting to the power of love, and
Beautiful.
and really getting what it means to shine your light upon another person. That there really is a light, and that really is a blessing, and that it means something to say bless you. And
That's
it
right.
means something to pray for someone. These are not words. This is the use of cosmic force.
That's right. Exactly. And we are, our words are vessels for light. Our bodies are channels for healing, and all of that becomes so much more rich and so much more clear and lucid when we've done our intergenerational work.
Mm. Tirzah, I cannot tell you how excited I am about this class.
Me too.
And everybody, the class starts March 7th. You can find information on it on myss.com, myss.com. Is there anything you want to add before I give you a text hug?
I am thrilled and honored to work with you, Carolyn. I am so excited to transmit, to be a channel for this work to everyone who loves you and to everyone who's listening and beyond. And we are doing a great and powerful global healing here, and we're all part of it. So I invite everyone to join us.
Oh, I do. I join with Tirzah, and I invite all of you to come on this journey with us, because it is a journey into yourself, into your ancestors, and into the generations to come. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Tirzah.